Alright, so in this video, I'm going to solve the equation x to the power of 6 minus 1 million is equal to 0. So, obviously 1 million is a very large number, and many people might think this would be tricky to solve, but let's try solving this. So, to start, 1 million is the same thing as 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which is equal to 10 to the power of 6. So 10 multiplied by itself 6 times. So I'm going to rewrite 1 million as 10 to the power of 6. So now I have x to the power of 6 minus 10 to the power of 6 is equal to 0. Now from here, x to the power of 6 is the same thing as x to the power of 3 plus 3. And I can use the property a to the power of m plus n is equal to a to the power of m times a to the power of n. So x to the power of 3 plus 3 turns into x to the power of 3 times x to the power of 3. And now I'm going to do the same thing with 10 to the power of 6. So I'm going to rewrite it as 10 to the power of 3 plus 3. And now I get x to the power of 3 times x to the power of 3 minus 10 to the power of 3 times 10 to the power of 3 is equal to 0. Now x to the power of 3 times x to the power of 3 is the same thing as x to the power of 3 squared. And 10 to the power of 3 times 10 to the power of 3 is the same thing as 10 to the power of 3 squared. Now, if I have something in the form a squared minus b squared, this is equal to a plus b times a minus b. So in this case, a is equal to x to the power of 3, and b is equal to 10 to the power of 3. So I get x to the power of 3 plus 10 to the power of 3 times x to the power of 3 minus 10 to the power of 3 is equal to 0. Now, I'm going to write down two more properties that we're going to use for these two. So if I have something in the form a to the power of 3 plus b to the power of 3, this is equal to a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. And a to the power of 3 minus b to the power of 3 is equal to a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. So this means that x to the power of 3 plus 10 to the power of 3 turns into x plus 10 times x squared minus 10x plus 10 squared, which is 100. And x to the power of 3 minus 10 to the power of 3 turns into x minus 10 times x squared plus 10x plus 100. So this means that I have x plus 10 times x squared minus 10x plus 100 times x minus 10 times x squared plus 10x plus 100 is equal to 0. And this gives me four separate equations. So I have x plus 10 is equal to 0, x squared minus 10x plus 100 is equal to 0, x minus 10 is equal to 0, and x squared plus 10x plus 100 is equal to 0. So what I'm going to do is first start with the simpler equations, which are these two right here. So for x plus 10 equals 0, all I have to do is subtract 10 on both sides, and I get x is equal to negative 10. And for x minus 10 equals 0, all I have to do is add 10 on both sides, and I get x is equal to positive 10. So these are already two solutions for x, but now I'm actually going to get 4 more because each quadratic equation gives me 2 solutions. So I'm going to first solve x squared minus 10x plus 100 equals 0. Now because this is a quadratic equation, I can solve it using the quadratic formula, which is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So in this case, a is 1, b is negative 10, and c is 100. So I get x is equal to negative of negative 10 plus or minus the square root of negative 10 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 100, all over 2a. Now this turns into positive 10 plus or minus the square root of 100 minus 400 over 2. And this is equal to 10 plus or minus the square root of negative 300 over 2. Now, the square root of negative 300 I can rewrite as the square root of 300 times the square root of negative 1. And before I do anything, I'm going to first start by simplifying the square root of 300. So the square root of 300 is equal to the square root of 150 times 2. And that's equal to the square root of 5 times 30 times 2, which is equal to the square root of 5 times 15 times 2 times 2. And this is equal to the square root of 5 times 5 times 3 times 2 times 2. So now this gives me the square root of 25 times the square root of 4 times the square root of 3, which is equal to 5 times 2 times the square root of 3, which is equal to 10 root 3. So I have x is equal to 10 plus or minus 10 root 3 over 2, which is equal to 5, and then I have this times the square root of negative 1, and this is equal to 5 plus or minus 5 root 3 times the square root of negative 1, because I divide both terms with 2. And now, if you already didn't know, the square root of negative 1 is equal to I. So I get x is equal to 5 plus or minus 5 root 3i. And now, for my final equation, I have x squared plus 10x plus 100 is equal to 0. So if I use the quadratic formula, I get negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 100 minus 4 times 1 times 100 all over 2 times 1. So now this is equal to negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 10 or 100 minus 400 over 2, which is equal to negative 10 plus or minus the square root of negative 300 over 2. And going back from earlier, the square root of 300 is 10 root 3, and the square root of negative 300 is 10 root 3i. So I get negative 5 plus or minus 5 root 3i. So now to write down all my solutions, my first solution is 10, my second solution is negative 10, my third solution is 5 plus 5 root 3i. I'll just say 5 plus or minus, so third and fourth, and my fourth and fifth are negative 5 plus or minus 5 root 3i. So these are my solutions.